Sidney Crosby will be a free agent in the year 2025. Time to panic? Good morning to you. This is that time of year where you have to really dig deep for subject matter. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way regardless of the level of news that's occurring bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer up daily shots of Steelers and Pirates right where you found this. Hey, it's a daily show. There's going to be times where we get into stuff that is super topical. You know, big game the night before and everything else here. As it is, you'll have to settle for this. Alexander Ovechkin this summer signed a contract with the Capitals that'll pay him through age 40. It's a 5-year deal with an average annual value of $9.5 million. Ovechkin, interestingly enough, negotiated this contract directly with Ted Leonsis, the owner of the Caps, and no agent. No agent. They just got together and figured out what it was going to take to make sure that if and when Ovechkin breaks or challenges Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record, that it was going to happen in Washington and not somewhere else. At the time it was signed, Brian McClellan, the GM down there, said the following: the idea of Ovi playing in Russia or playing for another organization just didn't make sense. It was important we brought that tone into the negotiations, that we were going to try to make it work. We wanted him to finish his career here, to be happy about the contract, to be happy about the term, and go out the right way. Sound like something you'd want to see happen here? Yeah, I would think so. Sid's contract, for anybody who doesn't remember, because it was signed such a long time ago, was a 12-year deal that pays the world's most superstitious player $8.7 million a year, at least in terms of cap hit, because that's just Sid, born on August 7 of 87 and 87 in everything he does in every walk of life. And that allows him, technically, to become a free agent in 2025. And you can say to yourself, well, come on, man. There's no way Sid would ever play anywhere else. He's made that clear. He actually did it again this past season when somebody hilariously brought up Crosby trade rumors emanating from Canada. And he literally laughed when this came up in a Zoom call that we had and said, I'm not used to fielding this kind of question. It's important to him to have a legacy where he's attached to one franchise. This is not going to be somebody that you'll see later in life bumping around from franchise to franchise. But the Washington scenario does bring up, how do you handle this with grace? How do you handle this with fairness? How do you handle this, kind of the way Washington impressively just did with Ovechkin? This portion of Daily Shot of Penguins is brought to you by the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank. They're committed to providing food for all of our neighbors in need across Western Pennsylvania, and they in turn need your help. $1 is all it takes to create 5 full meals. Go to pittsburghfoodbank.org to find out how you can be part of this noble endeavor. pittsburghfoodbank.org. I think I've got an answer here. And I think that the Ovechkin contract, even though this extension was signed 4 years before Sid would have to, and I'm underscoring have to, sign his own, can set something of a template here. Because there is a measure of respect that's thrown in there for everything that Ovechkin's meant to the franchise, not just the cup, but really it's everything. Okay, he's everything to what the Washington Capitals are and what they've become as a business, as an entity, not just as a team that finally made it to the top. Sid's really not that different. I know the Penguins have been blessed with more superstar talent over the years, over the long haul. Certainly the Capitals don't have multiple generational talents the way the Penguins have had. But Sid's made his own indelible impact in Pittsburgh. Sid's carved out his own, what's the word I'm looking for here? His own right, I guess, to make sure that he's treated similarly. Now, I could see a situation, you're going to deny this now, but you might not eventually, where the fans will be like, man, that's a lot of cap space to give up on a 37-year-old. And depending on how long the extension is, a 39-year-old or a 40-year-old. Ovechkin's contract takes him through age 40. Sid's could do the same. But then there's also the not-so-small issue as to how long does Sid want to play. You know, he might be that guy who says, hey, I really enjoyed this game when I was at the very top, and I'm not all that content being a guy who's, I don't know what, third line, fourth line, two-way center, something like that. I mean, I'm not suggesting he's going to do that. I'm just saying that it's a possibility. And once you get to those years, the term isn't going to look like what Ovechkin's just did. Ovechkin's was just taken through 5 years to get him to age 40. If you're the Penguins and you do that, it's a 3-year deal. But I can tell you right now that it's going to be a 3-year deal that's going to be somewhere in that range. It just is, meaning the Ovechkin range, $9.5 million. And there are remarkably going to be people who go, oh, geez, no, really? I mean, we could go out and get, 2 bottom 6 wingers for that or something, or who knows what that'll buy you 4 years from now in the NHL. Bottom line, the Penguins are going to be in a position where they're going to have to pay Sidney Crosby essentially for past performance. That's the cross you have to bear to an extent when you have a player this special, a player who's done that much for you. You can't just say, hey, Sid, we'll hang on, but we're going to be tough negotiators here, wink, wink. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're going to work out something. And for that matter, I think you're going to see something similar, though not at the Ovechkin extreme, occur with Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang, possibly this very summer, where they're kept around on, 3-year extensions or something like that at rates that are similar to where they are now, but not necessarily at that level. And I think that's going to be fair as well. Look, I don't want to paint any of these 3 players as if they're going to be liabilities. These guys are probably going to be able to lace them up at age 50 and be better than most guys that they're facing. But there is an obligation, a duty that a team has to take care of those who took care of them. When we come back, just one question. Welcome back. It's time for Just One Question, and that's brought to you always on this program by Fubo TV. The monthly cost of cable is over $200. Fubo TV is just $65 a month to watch all the same channels, including AT&T Sportsnet Pittsburgh. And for a limited time, just for listening to this show, just for making it this far into a hockey podcast in late August, our listeners get a 7-day free trial and 15% off your first month. by going to FuboTV.com/DK. Today's question comes from Jim Bergeron, who asks, DK, there are plenty of Pittsburgh-type joints very close to PNC Park and Heinz Field. For example, I'm coming home this week, and I'll be at Mike's Beer Bar and North Shore Tavern every night over on Federal Street. There doesn't seem to be even one place that stands out near PPG Paints Arena. Is there one? And if not, why not? I mean, you got to know the territory to know that there actually are places. There is the place that's directly across what's officially the main entrance to PPG Paints Arena. It used to be called Blue Line Grill. It's now Buford's Kitchen, although they, like everybody, got hit hard in this pandemic. And there's also an eatery at the base of the Marriott Hotel across the street that's commonly used by people who are coming into Pittsburgh to visit PPG Paints Arena for a given event. But obviously there's also still the seas and seas of upturned dirt and asphalt sitting across from the arena, which was the old Civic Arena site, and we just keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for that development to materialize. And every time over the years when I've brought it up with the team, they get really agitated. Why are you asking these questions? This is so difficult. This is a complicated negotiation with the Hill District leaders and the city and potential developers. And look, I've heard the stories. I appreciate the challenge. I also know what I see, and that's just a mound of dirt over there. As long as PPG Paints Arena has been up, and this will be its 12th year, it's utterly, spectacularly embarrassing for all concerned that not a single thing has gone up across the street. Those of you who are fortunate enough to get around and see other cities, other NHL venues, and how they've done things, most often will compare favorably Columbus's situation with what they refer to as the Arena District there. And they built up not just Nationwide Arena, but several streets of either fixed up old buildings or created new buildings and new streets with all kinds of restaurants. Now, they're mostly chains and whatever else, but there's tons of options. When you leave a Blue Jackets game, you've got a zillion places to go. When you leave a Penguins game, you're heading to your car. And I'll say it again, it's been 12 years. There's no excuse for this, not at any level of the organization, not at any level of city government, not at any level of the Hill District administrators and leadership. All three of them are culpable for this. What they've done, in addition to all the other damage, is they've lost a lot of money. I'm not saying this for the greater glory of semi-wealthy or legitimately wealthy hockey fans. I'm just talking about for the city and for the team. They could have been making a lot of money in this time, and they didn't. I know this doesn't directly answer your question, Jim, but actually this is kind of the root of it, because that could be an outstanding addition to the downtown/uptown area. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. Let's do another one of these tomorrow.